can actually join their purchasing program with its low waste system.
So they're looking at it systemically in a pretty big way.
And it's a systemic issue, but you've got to start in the idea that when you address the systemic issue, you have to address the fact that everything has a price.
So let's talk about the systemic issue just for a minute. Here we are talking about waste management and the management of things, whether they become waste or something else. And then there's people as part of the system. And I've heard people say that there just isn't any way to change behavior without motivators like money involved. I'm not saying you or the committee have said that. I don't mean to imply that, but I've heard people say that, when we are talking about environmental issues and change in behavior, that would be their understanding of what is required. And when I think about that, when I look at this issue, I think about some of what I've heard people say about their understanding of the process, and a feeling overall of having something imposed on them. And I know that there are people who oppose pay-as-you-throw right now for Brattleboro, at least in the way it's been put forward, due to what they feel are very particular considerations around the financial piece of it and the logistical piece of it, and as a discussion of the stuff that's going into the waste stream and the financial impacts. But then there's also, I've heard people express a feeling that pay-as-you-throw was somehow foisted on them in some way. It's a strong word. Here I am asking around in order to get a frame on what's gone on here, and I learned from you that this has been going on for years now, this conversation, and I've seen it referenced in the local press, and never had a real clear sense of the commitment of the degree of commitment by the committee members, the volunteers, just our citizens' government in action. The challenge is to getting the information that you've acquired and the incremental decision making that you've made in committee toward your charter, and then here it is that when the public becomes aware of it, it feels like something new. And there's a whole range of responses to that. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, you can correct my perception if you think it needs correction.
All I can say is that we, as members of the committee, have tried our best to make this information available in the manner that would get it to the most people, to the abilities that we had. And none of us are marketers. None of us are, I would love it. I'm always saying that, we need more volunteers who can really focus on community outreach. And, at this point, we've got 2 more committee members since I started. And as the issue has become, pressed more to the fore, just dealing with the day-to-day issues leaves it very difficult to push the information out on our side. And then there's the aspect that for a year we had a monthly column in the Brattleboro Reformer talking about solid waste issues. We've made various attempts to be on the radio, and like right now, and present it to other people. We've held some meetings outside of our regularly scheduled Tuesday at 1 p.m. meetings. We've looked into over and over what other times might be possible for other people to attend these meetings that would work for more people, and
so the meetings and the committee meetings are open.
The committee meetings are open, just like any Brattleboro committee meeting. You can,
and they're warned publicly.
And they're warned publicly, and both on iBrattleboro and in the Reformer, and on the town website. And we've tried to the very best of our abilities to get this information out to people, get people involved in the discussion, whether or not that happens isn't something we have control over.
It's just not going away, is it?
Trash is not going to go away unless we do something about it.
Right.
And we're not doing anything about it when we just put more money back into the tax base. There's no way to actually control your own personal trash destiny without actually having feedback. And what the money of those bags is that's feedback. And there
will be direct impact on some level.
With the free bags that are being offered, that's still a different form of feedback because you have to go and get those bags.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There are now the town meeting in 2010 voted to do a form of pay-as-you-throw, and through the town meeting discussions that they had, they wanted to address the issue of people who felt that they couldn't pay for the bags, whether those people were considered themselves low-income people, whether those people felt that it was morally outrageous to pay for your own trash, or any of a number of reasons. They said we should make sure that people don't have to be overly burdened with this system, but this system really looks like the way to go ahead and pay for trash in the future.
So that's how it came out of town meeting this year?
Yeah. They added $150,000 that could be used towards free bags to anyone who felt they needed them.
Yeah. So that would be people could self-identify?
And you could self-identify. You wouldn't have to say anything about how much you earned. You wouldn't have to say anything about where you were from.
So they'd leave that up to individuals.
The great thing about what the town meeting said is, we don't care. People don't have to identify themselves, and we're okay with it. If people want these free bags, they should be available to them. Even if you're the person who makes the most money in the entire town of Brattleboro, but you think that you really should be using free bags, right, you can go ahead and get them. And that's something that neither we as the Solid Waste Committee nor the Select Board felt comfortable in saying themselves. And because that's 10 people there. But, town meeting...
What do you mean?
The 10 people making the decision that we're just giving it out for free.
So you felt that was an appropriate decision for the town meeting?
It was certainly an appropriate decision for the town meeting to make, where they, where to say, we as representatives, as many representatives of the town of Brattleboro, are okay with spending Brattleboro money in a way